you know your party's 6-digit extension, you may dial it at any time. For transportation requests, please press 1. For billing inquiries, please press 2. For employment verification, please press 3. For all other requests, please stay on the line and a representative should be with you shortly. Thank you.
All right. Welcome to the Conspiracy Broadcasting Network, where I am and have been for vast majority of my life under a what I thought initially was a covert program of stalking, cyber stalking, essentially a COINTELPRO program. Other people in the community may call it gang stalking, organized stalking, cause stalking. There's all kinds of umbrella terms for it. But long story short, society is using technology to literally track people, their physical, emotional well-being, their psychological and mental state, and they've cracked open everything that you own through a Wi-Fi device. And this is a network that I created for my own personal well-being and documentation to objectify the factual experience of my reality. And I dive into a lot of psychological tactics of abuse, the oppression and all the elements within, including personal injury, including financial, occupational abuse, all the tactics of gaslighting, subversion, and everything that falls in line with the mantra COINTELPRO. I'm making a phone call here to an ambulance service to see what they're all about regarding IFT and interfacility transport. And essentially what I have is the region is not wanting to answer to me, is what I'm gathering now. When I call, they know me apparently. Thousands of people have known me, and thousands of people have basically obliged to, commit acts of abuse and harassment and stalking and gaslighting. And so we go over all of these things, and their purpose is to put you in constant social and psychosocial crowds of humility, to set you up, to criminalize you, to set you up, to humiliate you, to set you up, to isolate you, and basically to traumatize and harass you at all times. Okay. Everyone is and has been involved. This includes your family, your friends, all of these things I've went over in my vlogs. I said I was going to do a week-long vlog, and I was going to document all of the vehicular stalking that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, on a month-to-month basis, on a year-to-year basis. I have thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in the last 10 years driving on my accord and following me around. So the problem with that is for years, they've been inside of all of my electronic devices, removing all of my notes, removing all of my memos, removing all of my video, removing all of my pictures, and removing all of my things and keeping me oppressed and hacking all my laptops. I've been through 5+ phones and they still hack the phone that I have now. They're going remotely and hacking the SIM card. On this particular vlog, there has been a lot going on since my last vlog. And I recently had to fix my washer because there was a bunch of debris basically from my dog. I decided to try to help her out, clean up one of her little beds, and there was so much sediment in there that it clogged the pump, right? It's a top loading washer. And they're kind of notorious for that because front load washers will actually have a filter. They don't have filters, they just go through a pump. Problem is the sediment gets inside the pump and it can junk up everything in the pump. So it broke the pump. So I went in there, purchased a brand new pump, went in and extracted the old one. Every single day for 3 days, my neighbor, his name is Gary, across the street, he parks in front of my house. And so he'll come out and he'll take the hood of his vehicle, his van, and leave it up. So when I walk through back and forth and I look outside, I have to pull the water out of the washer and I leave the lid up. Okay. So he is using semantics, timing every single time. And it's not like he did this on an off day. It was every day I went to the washer. Like that was the objective for that portion of the day. I would go outside and he would leave and he had left the hood up. Okay. Knowing that I have to pull the lid up on my washer and I have to vacuum out the water, right? Because I was testing it, the water drainage component. No other day, I've been here 2 years. Gary hasn't ever done that before. Okay. Have that on video on my house camera. And so Gary he takes his dog. Every time I'm not out, I'm away from the house or I'm sleeping, he'll let his dog out. Dog will come over to my yard and shit in my yard. And then when I have to walk my dog and then at night or in the evening when I can't see very well, I have to walk into his dog's shit. So long story short, I have to go and have a discussion with Gary about this. And this isn't the first time Gary's done these things. Okay. There's a lot of other things, but it's important that I just update because I can go on and on and on, but we're going to update what just happened in the last week and just keep it moving. Okay, so Gary, just like all my other neighbors and everybody else, is on this perpetual use of technology to pattern my behavior when I enter and exit my house, what I'm doing in my house, patterning my activities of daily living, patterning the things that I do. Okay, and so again, Gary out there leaving the hood up, knowing that I'm going to be pulling the lid up on my washer. And it's always something that is antagonizing. Okay, always something antagonizing. He knows that he lets the dogs out. Dog comes and shits in the yard. Okay, so that's that. And then I have a neighbor over here on my right. Always calls a service to come cut her yard, trim her hedges. Right? They don't ever leave anything behind. They clean up the hedge clippings and they do this and they do that and they do all this stuff. Right? Well, ever since I bought Thuja greens, okay, who are a little sick because of the cold snap, and they're still saplings. This neighbor, ever since I had purchased those Thuja greens, the baby ones that I've been tending, she's taken the hedge clippings, the dead hedge clippings, and put them in a pile right beside my Thuja greens. Okay, kind of insinuating that they would die, type thing, insinuating the evolution of the season, if you will, and the possibility that they would die. Okay, so they're making these mental connections at all times. All right, and they're timing all of your activities at all times. On my side of the house over here, I have found out that the city has been basically white lying to me about my backyard. My backyard is completely flooded And I've addressed this with them since last year. So it's flooded to a degree that I can't mow the backyard. Even if they had stopped the drainage, I wouldn't be able to cut the grass because it's so high with the traditional lawnmower that I have. So I wouldn't even be able to clean up unless I had some type of tractor or a brush hog of sorts. So now I have, there's been a few more mice I've noticed kind of around the house and near the kitchen, in the kitchen type thing, all because of this backyard being overgrown now. Okay. And then I have a bunch of humidity now in the house because they've allowed this to happen. I've called multiple times since May of last year. June is when it was formally documented. And I went back and forth with them all last year in 2024. This is the city of Birmingham. And just recently in the last month, I found out when I walked back here and I called the city waterworks, and they said that they would scope it and that they would come and talk to me and tell me what's going on. This has been twice now. They even said they would send a city inspector out. Okay, so all of these entities and people haven't gotten back to me, haven't told me anything, and I've had these discussions on record for 8 months. And 3 weeks ago, I finally went to the back and I said, well, where is this water coming from? And I followed it, and sure enough, it's an actual line break or either a release valve, something at the very end of my road, all the way in the back of the woods, is coming off of a hill and it's getting blown out of the ground underneath this tree. Just there's no valve, there's nothing indicating that there's water there. And one of the water contractors or water associates technicians marked it with a blue arrow. And they've known this. And they've had me calling them back and forth on record, back and forth all last year. And they had the answer the whole fucking time. Okay. And so now my dog, which she's susceptible to, heartworms and things like that, because the water is so close to the foundation of the house. Everything is soggy back there. The ground is soggy all the way up to the house, right? I can't even mow back there because the water is so profuse. Okay, I have water coming out like an aquifer out of the ground in the backyard. Okay, spoke to the neighbors, spoke to the person who was here before me. She was a family member, lived here 30 years, didn't have this problem. But the second I move here, they open up this fucking valve. And now water is just pouring out. Right? So now I have problems with humidity. I've got issues with the foundation, likely, right? Because you can't have soil like that near the foundation. So I have cracks probably going to be opening up in the foundation. Okay, property damage. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to close out right there, and we're going to start a new vlog because I don't want to make them excessively long. But those are 3 things that I've been addressing here recently since last vlog. Okay, so I have a whole backyard, which when I first moved here for a year, it was fine. Almost a year, it was fine. I mowed it, did whatever I had to do. I had plans on making a nice fence so the dogs could run around, all this stuff, right? Now I have no backyard whatsoever. I can't even mow the yard. I only have 5 yards, 5-yard footpath between the very end of the foundation of my brick to where the soil is so soft that I can't physically push the lawnmower wheels through the fucking backyard. Okay, before this, the owner, he had a riding lawnmower. They went, mowed the yard just fine. The second I move here, they decide that they're gonna not fix, or they're gonna just leave this valve running, and now we have all of these problems in my backyard, depreciating the value of my house. This is vlog 76. I have more to come on 77.